Islam started from the time of Adam, from the time who basically submitted to one God. Anyone who submitted to one God is well, you can say you can call me a liar by using flowery language.
I hesitate to say it, but you're a liar, and I'm going to tell you why you're a liar. I'm going to tell you that where you use semantics, in order to take people away from what I was saying, and then bring up something that didn't exist, you're a liar. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. When you speak about Islam, meaning the submission to the will of Allah, you understand? That's fine. You can say that, but that came about 1400 years ago. Let me explain to you why. The origins of your religion and your belief system is that an illiterate man in a cave received revelation from an angel that he didn't see, but he knew that it was Jibreel. He then left that cave and then went out and then went and spoke to his uncle, you understand, his uncle Abu Bakr, you understand, and said, you wouldn't believe this, I was in a cave and I was speaking to the angel Jibreel. If you leave that aside for one moment and you look at what the political situation was.
No, before you go into politics, I want to know the reason why you're not answering the question.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Perhaps I will answer it in a roundabout way. If you look, well, I will do. I'll give you my word. If you look at the political situation that existed in Arabia at that time, it was one of warfare. It was one of competing tribes and warring tribes. We know that in that part of Arabia, we know that it was a major trading port. One of the problems that they had there was the so-called polytheistic beliefs, and not only the polytheistic beliefs, but the war that came with it, which destabilized it. Because my belief, and I'll tell you right now, the same people who wrote the Quran and the same people who wrote the Bible, you understand, are the same people who are in power today. You understand? I'll explain. I'll explain to you.
But the thing is, you're not letting me speak. You made so many points. I would like to make
can I just say to you,
points on that.
So let me apologize to you, because I thought I was speaking. But if you want to and you say that you want to come in, I mean, quiet. That's a polite thing to do.
You have made so many points here,
There's more to make,
which I do not agree with. For example, you said that before Muhammad there were many gods, which I agree with. Yes, there were many gods. There were 360 gods in the Kaaba.
No.
Idols. Sorry, 360 idols.
Let me just clarify that. There wasn't 360 gods. So hold on a minute. They didn't call them idols. You understand? This is a new term. They were gods at that particular time. Manat was a god.
That's what I said.
No, but you said idols.
No, I said afterwards idols. First I said gods.
Okay, but let me just say to you, they weren't just 360 gods, because I'm saying that there were 360 gods at that period of time in that part of the world. This is one of the mistakes that people make, because before...
No, I'm not saying in all the world. Did I say that? No. That's what I implied.
No, that's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, based on the hadiths, based on the Prophet's biographies, we know that when the Muslims actually entered Mecca from Medina, when they conquered Mecca, after they were persecuted and then driven away, went to Medina, but when they came back with an army and basically came back to their homes, this is what they realized, that there were 360 idols which they worshipped as gods. And this was polytheism. Yes, there was polytheism elsewhere in the world as well. There's no doubt about that. But anyone who basically misunderstands and tries to imply that Islam originated with Muhammad ﷺ are mistaken, because what is Islam? Islam basically means submission to God and submission to one God. No, correct me after I finish.
No, sorry, let me just say to you very quickly, we'll just move in and out. First and foremost, that so-called Islam meaning submission to the will of God, is a term that originated around about 1400 years ago. It didn't exist prior to 1400 years ago. What you just did, and I'm going to explain to you, is what I call the classic switch and bait. And I'll tell you what I mean. I'm speaking about the origins of a religion. You have taken a monumental step forward and speaking about the 10-year absence of Muhammad moving from Mecca to Medina and then coming back with an army. I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about way before that. I'm speaking about the origin of this particular belief system, and I'm saying that belief system came out of the political situation that exists existed at the time.
I disagree with
you. Well, let me make one point then. One point, and then I'll...
Let's not capitalize on the word Islam. Because the word Islam is an Arabic term.
Hold on.
If you're thinking the Arabic term wasn't used before, there's nothing wrong with that. They used maybe a different term, but the submission of one God was there before Muhammad. No doubt about it.
Let me just say that. That may well be true if that's what you believe. But right now, today, if you go and you make Hajj, for example, and I've gone to Saudi Arabia, and I've gone on Hajj to Saudi Arabia in my younger days, 1997. And one thing that I discovered there, when you were walking around the Kaaba, most Muslims will believe that those who walk around the Kaaba is a holy place. And this is what they say. However, prior to the merchants turning that particular part of the world into a great big massive corporate industry, prior to that, that was the house of 360 idols that the people in that particular region of the world used to go to. But let me leave that aside for 1 minute, because that's actually a statement of fact. We're looking at the advent of a perfect religion. We're not talking Christianity, even though Islam allegedly says you should respect people of the book. I'm not even speaking about the Torah. Yeah, let's leave the Torah, because I'm going to make the point right now. No, we're not. We're not. No. Hold on a minute. I'm going to tell you. Don't get nervous because you might not have heard it. No, I'm just telling you, and I'm going to clarify it for you, because we're speaking about the origin of this particular religion. Which, if you speak,
what is the origin?
If they speak, Muslims tell you, that the Quran, that the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is allegedly written in the Quran, is perfect. Is that true or not?
The Quran is perfect.
Okay.
As the revelation from Allah. Yes.
Okay. Well, we know that you say it came from Allah, but we know that it came from an illiterate guy in a cave. But here's the point. Well, can I just say to you, it's actually a statement of fact. You might not like how I said it.
You're saying that Islam basically originated with Muhammad based on the revelation that he revealed. Let me finish. I let you speak for such a long time. Well, every time I try to speak for 2 minutes and you want to stop me. Can I have 5 minutes? You spoke at least 10 minutes.
You can do, but you didn't let me speak. I spoke because I wanted
10 minutes.
But you go ahead and speak.
You've been speaking for 10 minutes. Every time I try to speak, you stop.
Can I just say to you, my point was a fairly simple one, but you speak and I'll listen.
You kept saying the origin of Islam many times. I asked you to clarify. You said you don't want to answer that. Now, in order for somebody to understand what you're talking about, I would like to know, what is your contention here that you want me to respond from an Islamic perspective? Because I asked you a clear question. What is your understanding of the origin of Islam? And you said you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to respond to that.
I'm listening, sorry.
Yeah. So what is the point that you want to respond to? What is the key point that you want to discuss here?
Can I just say to you, I'm going to be honest with you. I like you, but you're doing like what most people who are Muslims do when they have an argument which runs counter to what they believe, and it's said in a clear and concise manner. So let me be very clear for a moment, and I will repeat this again. But feel free to jump in anytime you wish to.
I want to know the origin that you keep talking.
Well, hold on. You can't tell me what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell you what I want to say. No, but you haven't. You haven't. Let me just explain to you. The point that I was making, and you're not going to move me off this point, is a very simple one.
What is the point?
You said, well, hold on. You're going to keep saying the same thing, and then you're going to hold it up. Do you understand? This is tiring me out. Do you understand? The point that I was making is a simple one. It is said that the Quran is perfect. It is said that the religion of Islam is perfect. I want to put that to the test and ask you a question. I mentioned earlier when I had a conversation with my daughter that whatever you find in the microsome, you find in the whole. So Muhammad receives this revelation. Muhammad goes to Abu Bakr, who is his father-in-law. He goes to Abu Bakr and he tells him about this religion. And remember, they're in an area where there is political strife. We know that as a fact if you read the Quran and if you believe the Quran and if you read the Hadiths and you believe the Hadiths. Personally, I don't believe it, but for argument's sake, I'm going to say that I've read them. Do you understand? And so I'm going to be speaking from that. Here's what throws me. You have a perfect religion, do you understand, that has come after that's come after the Torah, that's come after Christianity, that's come after the belief of Izanagi, the god in Japan, that's come after Jade Emperor, the ruler of all gods in China, that's come after Guan Yin, you understand, the god of mercy in China. It's come after Banadicha, you understand, the god of the Aborigines. It's come after Olarum, the god of the Yoruba. It's come after Niame, the god of the Ghanaians, and I can go on and on. And yet, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and I say peace be upon him just out of respect, because I'm not here to be rude, but Prophet Muhammad dies and he appoints who? Well, not appoints who was appointed, do you understand, to take forward as the first caliph. The first caliph, yeah, of Islam was, you can laugh, but just tell me I'm lying and I'll stop. The first, I'm not speaking to him, I wasn't speaking to you, but I apologize. The first caliph was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, you understand, lived for 2 years. Yeah, lived for 2 years. Now remember, you can laugh. Am I lying? Oh, okay, good. As long as I'm speaking the truth. Well, hold on a second. Sir, I've studied Islam for 32 years. You understand? I think I know a little bit about Islam. Let me explain to you. Abu Bakr dies. Remember, this is the perfect religion. Abu Bakr led the tribes of the Quraysh into war. These are the people that said that they followed and wanted to spread Islam, the perfect religion. Abu Bakr dies, yeah?
What are the wars for?
Just 1 minute. Yeah, right, the second caliph, she's my 10-and-a-half-year-old daughter, she knows more than me. Yeah, the second caliph is Umar, from the religion of peace, the perfect religion. Umar survives for practically no time whatsoever, and the followers of the adherents of peace murder Umar. That's the second caliph. The third caliph was Uthman. Yeah, Uthman, do you understand, was also a warrior, yeah, trying to spread Islam. This is what he did, just like Umar. Uthman, who's the third caliph of Islam, is murdered. Remember, this is the religion of peace, and remember, whatever starts in the microcosm, you find in the whole. The fourth caliph is Ali. Ali, many people believed, many people, especially if you speak to the Shia and you speak to the Twelvers, you understand, they will say to you that Ali should have been the first caliph, being the cousin of Muhammad and being his secretary. This is what they say. I'm not
secretary.
What when I say secretary, his companion.
Ali, you know?
No. You understand? Hold a second. It's semantics. He was the closest person. Yeah, in my company.
What is the point?
No, hold on a minute.
Wars in Islam.
Hold on. You said no. We're talking about the religion, the religion of peace. We're speaking about, which is the perfect religion. Guess what happened with Ali? Yeah, from the religion of peace. Ali is on the floor and he's prostrate in prayer. And Ali, from the religion of peace, the fourth caliph of Islam, is murdered. Yeah, is murdered again. Remember, this is all from the lineage. Just hold on 1 minute. After him, the fifth and last caliph, Mutawahid, you understand? He then comes. That's how I pronounce it. I don't pronounce it like you because I'm from Jamaica. Yeah, so excuse me. Now, I should ask my daughter because she's cleverer than I am. I can tell you that. But the point that I'm making is that so from the beginning of the spread of this religion, it's been rooted in terror and murder. Let me ask you a question.
That's wrong. I don't.
Well, hold on a minute.
You have spoken such a long time. I still don't know what point you're trying to say.
Listen. I'm giving you.
I think you should give me a chance to respond because I want to jump in here.
Give me 20 more seconds.
Okay.
20 more seconds. Count. The point that I'm making is that the root of this religion, after the so-called death, and even during the death of Muhammad, has been rooted in murder and terror among his own adherents. Do you understand? That is an absolute fact. So when today, in 2016, a Muslim comes and says that my belief is a righteous belief, it's the one belief in the world, and we believe, I say that's good for you, because everyone seemingly around the world has a God. and I will have respect for that belief. What you can't do is say that that belief is so powerful that everybody else should have it. That I won't accept.
Okay, fine. It's your opinion. I mean, if you don't want to accept, that's fine. At the end of the day, yes, there were wars in Islam during its history, during its early history, and even later history. There's no doubt. I will not say there were no wars. And when you say the peaceful religion, it doesn't mean it was all rosy from the very beginning. You know, when Prophet ﷺ, from the very beginning, since his parents died, since his uncle and his grandfather died, yes, he had been on the receiving end. He and his people, the early Muslims, were driven away from Mecca, from their own houses. They were persecuted to the point where they had to basically run away from their own homes.
The origins of the
let me finish. I'm saying you're trying to imply it was all just rosy. It was all wars and terror. I'm coming to that. I'll let you speak. Let me speak now. So what I'm saying is that yes, they were driven away, they were persecuted, and the same thing if you look at other religions. If you look at the time of, for example, the time of Jesus, yes, he was persecuted. The people that were with him, they were persecuted. To be honest, I don't think any prophet from the past, yes, who has not been persecuted by the people that he ever. For example, why do you think Noah had to build an ark? Because he was also persecuted by the people. He was trying to convey the message. Now we go back to history and we look at all the prophets. Most of them had to face this persecution from the people. Noah, give an example of Noah. Give an example of Jesus. Example of Moses. The Pharaoh wanted to basically kill all the Hebrews and the Jewish people at that time, and they were persecuted. So Muhammad ﷺ and his companions were no exception to this persecution, because when you spread the truth, when you want to spread saying yes, believe in one God, not these 360 idols, do not believe this paganism, I would call it paganism because it involves idol worship.
Based on what?
That's fine, we'll do the...
Sir,
let me finish and then you can interject, my friend.
Based on what? Because
my friend,
what you're doing now, you're proselytizing, do you understand, and you're not giving an answer.
I will give an answer
to the question
in
that I
no way
gave.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, but let me just say...
if you stop interrupting me, then I can finish. I did not interrupt you with all due respect. You've been speaking here at least 15, 20 minutes.
You can interrupt me. I told you can interrupt me.
That's not how I dialogue.
That's not the point. It's not the point. It's Hyde Park.
We can't get a point across if we keep interrupting.
And this is the problem that I have with Muslims.
Which is what?
Let me tell you what happens.
Okay,
anytime somebody... I'll speak for 10 seconds. Anytime someone says something in an intellectual, clear, concise manner which goes against the doctrine that you've been taught, the first thing you do is raise your voice, interrupt them and try to throw them off. I understand.
Did I interrupt you?
Carry on.
Or you interrupted me?
No, you did. But
don't try to put what you believe is righteous, yes, thinking that I'm the one who interrupted.
Sir,
when you look,
I've only spoken from an Islamic perspective.
No, that's what you think.
No, I'm telling you as a fact.
For example, when you said...
Tell me where I've lied.
Where you have lied?
Yeah, just tell me where I've lied.
I didn't say you lied. You might...
Sir,
you might not have
can only speak on truth. Tell me where I lied.
Okay, I'll tell you what. When you said Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, yes, who fought wars, and I asked you which wars, you did not want to respond to that.
Let me tell you why.
Which wars did you fight? Go on, tell me.
The reason why I don't get into that. I made clear the reason why I'm getting into that, because the origin of the argument is not the wars. Yeah, it's immaterial. The origin of the argument, which you're not going to take me off of my path on, is that the religion that you follow is no different to the adherents of the other religions that existed at that time. Your story is no more plausible than any other stories. Why on earth wouldn't I sit here at the moment and speak about the three main Indian religions and the wars that they had? It's nonsensical.
You know, you said something about Islam's origin, with wars and with terrorizing, for example, the killing.
I didn't mention the word terrorizing.
Yes, you did.
Maybe you should look up the videos that's been up.
Okay, then if
hold
I
on.
did,
you know, I'm still not clear as to what you're trying to say. If you did not want to imply that, what is the point of this discussion? You tried to imply that Islam's origin wasn't peaceful. In other words, is that what you're trying to say? Isn't that what you're trying to say?
No.
It's no.
You can't put me in the place. I'm saying
I'm not telling you.
I'm saying amongst many other things, I would have expected that if someone makes a claim, a claim that no other religion that I've ever heard of makes, whereby it says that there is no other prophet, after Muhammad, and I'm saying that's an incredible claim, that's no other prophet after Muhammad, I then want to see the results of what that religion says and what it does. And so I look at the religion again, and I look at the caliphs, do you understand, and I look at the murder and the tyranny that surrounded it. Now you may well say there was war at that time. That may well be the case, and I knew that there was war at the time. No, you did say that.
If you heard me, what I said was all the prophets and their companions before were persecuted.
Sure.
Do you disagree with that?
All the prophets were persecuted from the region of the world that you're talking about.
Which is?
But the region of the world that you're speaking
you're talking only about the
is the
Abrahamic
so-called.
faith.
That's right.
Oh, okay, the Abrahamic faith is the problem.
The Abrahamic faith.
Okay,
right. So
now we're getting somewhere.
all of the Abrahamic faiths, make that particular claim. The point that I'm making is that the world extends beyond the Abrahamic faiths. So I'm asking, how was it? Because I can tell you, I already know the answer. But I'm asking, how was it that Islam, for example, and Christianity, do you understand, has spread across the world? Because as far as I'm concerned, they are expansionist religions. There is a reason today when my daughter...
Are you somehow trying to say Islam spread by the sword? Why didn't you just say?
Well, hold on a second. You can't put words in my mouth.
No, but that's what you're trying to say, isn't it?
Hold on a minute. I mentioned expansionist religions, plural.
Okay.
I didn't say singular. And so, just for people who are not aware, the Abrahamic faith is Judaism. They understand Christianity and Islam. I'm saying when my daughter and I had a discussion today, and she was speaking about why is it that you can go to certain countries in the world and they only speak English, for example. I was trying to explain to her how religion has spread across the planet. Now, if you look at what we were speaking, that's what we were speaking about, right? If you look at the world, there are two constants that run through it, as far as I'm concerned, within the Middle East, stroke Africa, and the Western world. It's the spread of expansionist religions. Now, if all the religion did was to take their book and say, here's the book, you can either accept it or not accept it, I would say that is fine, because people have a right to any belief that they wish. Interrupt me anytime you wish. We
have gone away from the point again. I still want to know what's the point you're trying to debate here.
The point
every time you change the goalpost for some reason. Every time I ask you a question,
the point is gone away from the point.
I have not gone away from the point. You don't understand.
What it is,
what is the main contention here?
Can I just say to you?
The Abrahamic faiths are expansionist.
Let me because I said this is time. This is time out.
Have you breaking it down neatly to you? That's all you do.
This happens all the time, and that's the reason why earlier I said if you came to Hyde Park once upon a time, you could have political discussions and so on and so forth, and now it's just a big outside mosque. If you go against whatever the prevailing, if you go against whatever the prevailing belief is, they don't wish to hear, because essentially,
I still don't know what the discussion is.
Essentially, well, I think that you do.
I think you're changing the goalpost every time.
No.
Every time I ask you a question about Islam, and with regards to what you said, you asked me what is one thing that you lied about. I asked you, okay, you did not lie, but some things you missed out, the key points. For example, I asked you about Abu Bakr radiallahu. Tell me what was the wars that he fought for. Let's see if you know that.
Hold on, this is the classic bait and switch.
See what I mean?
This is the classic.
See what I mean? You want to answer the question.
This is the classic bait and switch. Because if I answer...
How's that switch? Didn't you mention that?
Well, hold on a minute. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I'll answer it for you. The reason why, and I said to you previously earlier on, that I don't answer these questions because essentially what it's meant to do is to take you away from your original point.
Which is?
And the original point is that Islam has no greater distinction than any other religion that's been here on this planet. But hold on. Well, I'm answering you. Yeah, it has no other clear distinction from any other religion that exists on this planet Earth. So if I start going into Umar and the wars that Umar had and the taxes, the jizra that he put on the non-believers, it's a side issue. It's a side issue. The issue is that the beginning of Islam.
No, it's not.
The beginning.
It's not the beginning of Islam.
The beginning.
And this is where you're wrong. You keep saying this is the origin of Islam.
This is semantics.
No,
this is semantics.
I'm sorry.
It is.
Look,
bro, let the man talk as well.
It's semantics.
You keep saying this is the origin of Islam. This is not the origin of Islam.
It's semantics.
Islam, look, the word Islam is the Arabic term. Yes, that might have originated 1400 years ago. But the belief in one God did not originate 1400 years ago. And this is the key point which you keep missing. Yes, there were gods who were basically believed by other countries, other geographic regions like Japan and Egypt and so on. Yes, there were other gods. I do not deny that. But the key point is this. In many regions of the world, other than the Middle East, okay, there was also belief in one God. And this is what, for example, take the example of Ashoka in India. Yes, he fought wars to spread his religion. Guess what was his religion? Do you know?
I've no idea.
Buddhism. Yes, this was a Buddhist king in India who was an expansionist, and he expanded. You see, before the United Nations, what was the rule of law? Basically, anyone who captures a land, they would rule it by their laws. And this is what happened. It was might is right. And this, regardless of whether it was in Africa, in Mexico, in Americas, in Australia, whatever the people were at that time, in the Middle East, yes, the rule was might is right at that time. They did not have defined borders like the way we have today in the United Nations.
When did Islam
since the United Nations. Islam started from the time of Adam. From the time who basically submitted to one God. Anyone who submitted to one God is by, well, you can say, you can call me a liar by using flowery language, but what I'm saying is this.
Can I just
believe
say
in
to
one
you
God.
Adam never had to believe it.
I'm actually going to call you a liar, and I'm going to explain
You've already
why.
done so.
I'm going to call you a liar in a minute.
Okay, do you believe in Adam, first and foremost?
No, let's go back to
How can you say I'm disingenuous?
This is ingenious, and I'm going to explain when you finish.
Okay, let me finish that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, based on my belief, based on Islam, yes, it is a belief. And this is what I'm saying. We believe, just like other Abrahamic faiths, that the first man was Adam. And this first man believed in one God. And to me, that is Islam. To believe and to submit in one God is basically what Islam is. It did not originate with Muhammad, as many people misunderstand. And like I said, every prophet, every messenger had to face this persecution. Nothing new.
Yeah. Right. Let me just say to you. Let me just say to you. I'm actually. I hesitate to say it, but you're a liar, and I'm going to tell you why you're a liar. I'm going to tell you that where you use semantics, yeah, in order to take people away from what I was saying, and then bring up something that didn't exist, you're a liar. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. When you speak about Islam, meaning the submission, yeah, to the will of Allah, you understand? That's fine. You can say that, but that came about 1400 years ago. Let me explain to you why I say that. Why I say that first and foremost. Prior to that, in Arabia at that time, we know, and you've already admitted, that it was a mixture of polytheists. You understand? This is, as I said, there were polytheists. There's Christianity, there was Judaism, there were Iranian religions. This is beyond argument. You understand? No one here can tell me that what I'm not saying is the absolute truth. And so at that particular time, in that particular geographic region of the world, they had 360 gods that they worship. Where? Where did they go? They worship at where? Tell me? They worship at the Kaaba. Yeah, they worshipped at the Kaaba. Today there were 300.
Which part did I lie? I want to know.
Hold on. Because what you said.
You're going to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm going to answer it right now.
Because you made an allegation. I want you to back
it's an allegation. I'll back it up right now. What you did, it was sophistry. Yeah, for me, sophistry is just another word for a lie. And the reason why, when you say what I say is disingenuous, this nonsense about Islam being the will of Allah, you understand? That concept only came about 1400 years ago. Of course.
By the way, I said will of one God. If you heard me properly, I said will of one God.
Well, hold on a second. I said, hold on.
Going to call me a liar
if it's the Abrahamic religions, they'll tell you.
I didn't use the word Abrahamic religion. I said believe in one God.
You did. You used the term.
How can it be Abrahamic religion when I'm talking about Adam?
Hold on.
No, I said about Adam. I said Adam was the first man. Islam originated with Adam. I use the word Adam.
Who else has Adam?
That's the problem. You're not listening to me.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, carry on.
He's being
I still want to know
disingenuous.
why you called me a liar. Go
Well,
on.
I've just explained to you, so I'll explain to you again, since you didn't
failed to
understand.
explain the fact
I
that
did. I said to you,
Abraham.
I said to you,
Why is he a liar?
do you
Let's
understand?
get
Hold on,
him.
I'll
Let's
tell
get
you.
on to
I'll
this
tell you.
clarify. Yeah,
I
go
said to you that sophistry by any other name is a lie, and you said that Islam. Yes, you said that Islam. Yeah, means submission to the will of Allah.
No, I said one God.
Yeah. Well, you did say a lie in the beginning.
I said
You
one God.
understand? You say Islam means
Even if I said Allah, it means one God.
well, sir, let me just explain to you the advent of Mohammedanism in that particular part of the world. You had a belief in 360 gods.
Yeah, you have said that so many times.
Well, let me tell
I still
you.
don't know why you called me a
Hold on
liar.
a minute. Hold on. Well, of those 300,
I don't deny there were
No, he's
360
saying
gods. Of course there were
how
360 gods.
Islam came
Sir,
into existence
sir,
because they never
sir,
had that.
sir.
Islam is an Arabic term. I told him that
I
as
know,
well.
I know,
made
the
it very
concept.
clear.
But
I
he
said,
said
what
the
the
concept.
concept is belief in one God. Are you telling me that monotheism didn't exist before Muhammad? Seriously?
What I'm saying to you is that part of the world
Yes.
that has that religion while you're standing here talking to me today, that particular time, remember, anybody who's been Hajj and they've gone and they've made their pilgrimage, do you understand, and they've gone round the Kaaba,
I've been to
I'm
Hajj,
saying,
alhamdulillah, yes.
alhamdulillah, good for
Yes,
you.
good.
I'm saying to you that which you call holy today, was a home for idols.
We don't deny that.
Over
It's in the
360.
seed of
So
Muhammad.
what has happened? What has happened? There were 300 just in that part of the world, by the way. Yeah, there were 360 idols that were worshipped in Arabia at that
We
time.
know that. We accept it.
But here's the point. When you mention and when you say what Islam means, and obviously you're looking at it from an Arabic perspective, you're not in Arabia, you're in Britain, and you're going to say this word always existed. It's always meant that. I'm
Did I say
saying
the word always existed?
1400 years ago, in that part of that world, it did not exist. And if it existed, let me tell you what you can do to shut me up. Get a copy of the Quran and show me where it existed.
I don't want to shut you up. I want you to realize the strawman argument that you created here. Did I say the term Islam always existed? I even said that the term Islam is an Arabic term. Yes, that might have existed from the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
No, that's what I was saying.
Hold on, no, but hold on. What did I say Islam? The concept of Islam means? It means a submission to one God. If you don't like the word Allah, that's fine. I use the word God. Zeus. Okay? Well, Zeus is a pagan god. If you believe in that, that's your problem. But the important thing is here is this. Monotheism is not something that started with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you agree?
Let me say to you, let me just say to you, you talk
Simple
about a
question.
straw man
My friend,
argument.
simple
Sir,
question.
Sir,
Did monotheism exist before Muhammad?
let me tell you what you can't do. You can't ask me a question and then determine how I make the answer.
Okay,
Do you
as long as you answer, that's
Sir,
fine.
So you can't
I didn't
ask a
tell you how to
question-
answer. I
You
just
can't
asked
ask
you
a
to
question or demand that I answer it in a
Okay.
particular way.
I didn't even demand that. I'm sorry.
It is a matter.
Yeah, go on.
It is a matter of fact. If you look at Western religions, for example, that exist today, they will tell you that they believe in monotheism. If I wanted to give a straw man argument, it would be very simple. All I would say is that you say that you follow that lineage from Adam. Do you understand? Yet, if I wanted to throw a straw man, if I wanted to be mischievous, I would then say to you that those who follow the First Testament, you understand, which are the so-called Jews, just by the way, there's no such thing as an Old Testament and a New Testament, you understand, that's more sophistry. You have a First Testament, that was given, that First Testament was believed by those who say that they are Jews. The Second Testament, which some call the New Testament, as I said, I don't understand that. You can't have a First World War, the Second World War, but it's an Old World War, the New World War. It's nonsense. But the Second Testament is believed by Christians. If I wanted to throw a straw man argument, I would say neither of those religions that preceded you believe anything that you say and say that you're a collection of devils, and they don't believe that. That's what a straw man argument is, because I will then light the fire and walk away, and then you would have to deal with
Wait,
that.
let me get this right.
Yeah.
So what is it I said about the Christian Christians and the Jews that you disagree with.
No, because
Yeah, go on.
we say
You talk about Adam.
Yes,
They both believe in Adam.
No. You mentioned monotheism.
Yes.
You're not going to take me off this point. You mentioned monotheism in order, as far as I'm concerned, from what I heard, in order to validate your argument regarding Islam, saying that you've come from am I right? That you come from the lineage of Adam. I'm saying that if that's what you're going to use to validate your argument, which is an incredibly weak argument, then I will go to the adherents of those who believe in the First Testament of Judaism and the Second Testament, the followers of Paul, and both of them say that your religion is completely false. So the argument that I'm making is that if your only argument is to say that you come from the lineage of Adam, it's an incredibly weak argument.
Your argument just now with regards to the previous religions of Judaism and Islam, it's got nothing to do with the lineage of Adam. Adam, regardless of whether you're a Christian or a Jew or an atheist or a Kemet or whatever you call yourself,
you knew nothing of Adam.
Sorry?
You knew nothing of Adam.
I knew nothing of Adam.
You knew nothing of Adam.
Can I finish my statement before you interject again?
Yeah.
Okay? Because I did not make such an argument with regards to the lineage of Adam. I said Adam believed in one God. This is based on my belief, my faith, the Quran and the Hadith, and the same goes with the Torah and the Injil, that the people who ascribe to them. And this is what I'm saying, that belief in one God is not a monopoly of Islam. It's not a monopoly of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers. Let me finish.
But I agree with that point.
Good. I agree with the point you're making, that there were 360 idols in Mecca, which the pagans believed in.
Let's not go that far. I don't want you to agree with me. I'm saying that
Why not?
I agree with the point that you just made. But by agreeing with the point that you've just made, you've just validated what I've said.
Which is
simply this: that if you are seeking to validate your belief in monotheism, and by validating that belief in monotheism, you go back to Adam and you go back to the Adamites and the belief in Adam and the belief in those scriptures, that belief in that monotheism, which came principally from those who believe in Judaism. I am saying that you have that right. I'm not knocking that. I believe that absolutely. The point that I'm making is, if that is your belief and that's how you're going to choose to validate your belief, I will then go to those people who have that belief, do you understand, to deal with you myself.
My belief is not based on Judaism. Where did you get that from? I never said that.
No.
I'm saying my belief.
I'm speaking about the monotheistic.
Yes, the monotheistic.
Because you mentioned.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Tell me what's the difference between the monotheism of Judaism and Islam. Go on.
Let me tell you.
Are you going to answer any of my questions? Because so far,
I've answered your question.
No, you haven't. I asked you about.
You will only hear.
I asked you about.
Where the point?
Every time I ask you a question, I asked you why did I lie? You still haven't answered that.
Let's get a subject.
What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you this is what the Muslims do? They feign ignorance.
Yeah, what's the issue? What's the issue?
What did I say to you in the car?
What is this? He's trying to speak to everyone except me now.
What is this conversation?
What was it?
Oh, she's got a question there.
Islam relies on ignorance.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's her opinion,
Yeah.
and she's entitled to it.
right.
Okay. But what
That's
I'm saying is, right
But
now,
hold on.
you have thrown so many red herrings,
Hold on.
and every time I ask you a question, you say I don't want to answer that.
Let me tell you. I answered once because, as I said to you, I know what you tend to do, or Muslims tend to do down
All
here.
Muslims are doing something.
For some reason, you sound very insecure that you're trying to say that this is me implying this.
And now we're going to the ad hominem attacks now.
Oh, after you called me a liar. Wow. After you called me a liar, he doesn't like it.
Ad hominem attacks. Didn't I tell you this was
Okay, I don't think this is getting anywhere.
Let me tell you the reason why.
Let's not say all Muslims do this. What is the subject?
Because they're insecure. Let me just say to you.
Subject matter.
Sir,
After this gentleman calls me a liar,
Let me tell
he
you,
finds
he
he makes an objection to me calling him insecure, because every time I ask him a question, he tried to
I
say,
called you a liar based on one thing that you said,
which is what?
and then I
Which
changed
is what?
it. Just one moment. And then I changed
Sorry,
it.
what is it I said
And then I
out loud?
changed it,
Yeah.
and I said that it was sophistry. But I said to you, sophistry by any other name is a lie.
which part of what I said is sophistry? Go on.
Let me tell
About
you,
Adam? Seriously?
You're tiring me out, and it's a deliberate ploy. And this happens.
See, there he goes the insecurity again.
No.
Every time I say something, he feels tired out.
And hominem attacks.
Man, come on.
Let me tell you what you can do if you wish. Anybody, you can sit here and call me a liar on anything that I
It's
said.
the other way around, actually.
No, I'm just just saying that you're allowed to.
In fact, I did not call you a liar once.
Anything that I've said,
I remember correctly.
has anything that I said been not factual? Am I a liar? Yeah. Tell me where I'm a liar.
Okay, I'll tell you where you were not factual.
Hold on,
With regards to the origin.
You couldn't tell me. Let him tell me. Let him tell me.
Because you say Islam is based on ignorance.
No, that was his daughter's view.
No, that's not what I said.
That was his daughter's view.
No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. First and foremost, the great thing about being in this country is that people are allowed individual beliefs. Based on her understanding, that's what she believes.
Yeah,
Now,
why you don't correct her?
Hold on a second. You say correct her. Correct her how? She has a belief. We sit down. We discuss. She finds it very difficult. She finds it very difficult to believe, and I don't really want to go through this again, but I will. She finds it very difficult to believe that the God of Islam is any different from just one second, sir. Yeah, that it's any different from any other of the pantheon of gods that we've discovered, that we learn about.
Give us a difference. Give us a difference.
Well,
the God of Islam is different from Buddha.
Give us the difference between the God of the Islam and the God of the Judaism. What's the difference?
Sir, let me just say to you.
What's the difference?
I
said to you that whichever, I won't go down that road, and I'll tell you why.
What I mean?
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's a very simple answer. It's a very simple answer. I said to you at the beginning of the conversation, and I'm going to go back to that, I said to you that every person has a right to believe what they wish to believe. If somebody is a Muslim and they say that they follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah, I said that's fine and that's fantastic. I do not have a right to tell you not to believe what you wish to believe. You have that right. Where I have a problem, thank you very much. Where I have a problem is the proselytizing nature of some Muslims that I've met, and let me just say very clearly on camera, you haven't been one of them. But let me just say to you that the proselytizing nature of some Muslims that I've met that believe, and they have said it, that the whole world, should be Islamic. This is what they say. They say that Prophet Muhammad is the last messenger, and as such, they will trot nobody having an alternate belief to what they have. I have a very serious problem with that. Now, for me and what I believe, you understand, I don't believe in any of what you believe, but I believe that you have an absolute right to believe what you believe, because I look at this world.
But you do believe in God, right?
To see more videos like this, subscribe to Titans TV down below. Thanks.
The greatest darky that bite with shark teeth and hate malarkey. Who you? The greatest heartbeat. Ancient Egypt is a
Okay, good. So now learn.
So majority.
Now learn. If you want to learn, let me speak now.
Okay, but my question.
Now learn.
Can I give you my question first? So, how many Christians are there? So you need the quantity to find out what the percentage.
We have no idea.
Because you don't even understand that racism is a subconscious conversation that's going on in everyone's brain right now, bro. You don't even understand.
I think it's a conscious.
That's why, that is why you went to
the table, mate.
And we're like, oh no, it wasn't actually racist.
Okay, when
because
I said
because there's a subconscious conversation already going on, bro.
No, a delusion is believing in something which is contrary to overwhelming evidence against it.
Like,
Cause and effect, reaction, action only applies to things made of matter. Yes? Only applies to things made of matter. It doesn't apply to consciousness, because consciousness is eternal and it has all possibilities. The same way how your imagination has all possibilities. You're only restricted by your physical body to carry out those imaginations. Yes? Are you in agreement on that?
That has been there always. Which I'm saying, okay, I'm made of energy, no problem. That doesn't prove to me that this energy that has no will is my claim, and I want you to disprove it. Exactly. The energy doesn't have a will? No, sir. Does it have conscience? No, sir. Does it have rationality? No, sir. Let me point you're going to come. I'm going to give you time. Now, the absence of will, the absence of consciousness, the absence of rationality. How does it bring a being like my friend here, who's a bit rational, has a will, and has consciousness? Please answer.